What does neuroscience show us about the brain's activity during sleep?
Yeah, you think of it, you're asleep, and therefore you think the brain must be doing nothing. Well, it's probably the opposite. In some ways, when people have been asleep and where they've been under an MRI machine, we actually see as much, if not more, activity in the brain when people are asleep. Now, what is actually going in the relationship to dreams? There's a lot of theories, there's a lot of, but there's very few provable theories on dream and its use. So we're going to go to what can we actually see, what can we actually measure in the way of activity in the brain? And we think it's probably got at least two things going on, possibly more. The first one, I think we did cover this a while back, which is when you're asleep, it seems like the gaps between the neurons actually expand, and that allows like a flushing process to occur. So obviously that takes activity for that to occur. And if any of you have been to Paris, any of our BrainWise listeners have been to Paris, in Paris, overnight, they will actually flush all the curbs with water. And it's a sort of a similar process that we clean out our brains. If you don't get adequate sleep, then that doesn't occur. And it seems to have, if you don't flush the brains out like that, it seems to be a derivative, or rather, it's a causal event for plaque to build up, which probably has some aspect of dementia. First, number one, I think we talked about it, get more sleep. The second thing we think happens is a sort of memory, is a sort of weeding out what you want to remember and consolidation of memory. And so, again, this is what we believe happens, is during the day, the brain is looking for threat and reward. Overnight, it looks and says, okay, what was threat, what was reward, and what was neutral in the middle? And from an evolutionary point of view, we can throw away all the neutral stuff. It didn't have an impact from an evolutionary perspective. It turns out if we are under some level of chronic stress, we will tend not to focus on the reward memories. We would tend to focus on the threat memories. And again, from an evolutionary point of view, that makes sense. So bottom line is, if you'd ever said, is it false or is it true? I'd say, no, it's false. The is not totally at rest when we're at sleep.